got you. Hang on. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, doke. Anybody know the minute or two to look over the paperwork?
You get over there, Dave?
I did.
You can call me.
I got it.
Everybody's got their phone shut off.
We didn't really want to talk to you. That's not true. Mine's on. I don't know why it wouldn't ring through. It must have buzzed or something and I didn't hear it.
That's okay.
Anyway, you're on now.
Okay.
Is everyone ready? Have we all looked at our paperwork? Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. Would you call the roll, please?
Mayor, before we
I beg your pardon.
I'd like to ask you a question. Under the sunshine law, when is it supposed to be posted?
This meeting?
Yes.
No.
All government meetings.
This meeting is a regular meeting, so it's not changed.
Not changed?
No, it's the same. The regular meeting is every Monday at 7. First Monday of the month.
And you don't have to post that?
No, don't have
Can
to
you show
post
me
it.
that in the sunshine law book?
Not right now, but I will.
And it says that on our time.
Post it out there. But we don't have to do a special posting for the regular meetings. Only for meetings that are special, that are set up out of the regular rotation.
But you usually have it, if I interject here, you've always had, ever since I've been on the council, because we've been 2.5 years, that always has been posted in on the five places that you said need to be posted.
Not this meeting.
Well, how's come I see them at the meeting, on the building?
It wouldn't be this one. It would be any special meetings that
I'm
we
talking
have.
about a regular meeting, a regular monthly meeting.
No,
I can prove it.
I'm sorry. They do not have to be posted because they are a regular schedule. If we change that, then we need to let somebody know it's been changed. Or if we're meeting specially for the meeting with the park or whatever we do, an emergency meeting, those things have to be posted.
You were talking about a regular meeting?
Regular meeting and special meetings. They have to be a meeting with 5 rules.
Okay.
I'll
I'll look into, I know where I can
Our
find it.
posting places are listed.
I'll find
We
out.
have
Yeah,
it.
they're listed. I've been to all of them. They're hard to posting for the last 2 meetings.
They were up, we put them up.
Not scheduled time, but
Not at the scheduled
24
time.
hours before meeting time. No, they were not. The camera has daily time.
They were up, we had the emergency added to one. We can do that because it was an emergency situation, but they were up 24 hours before the park meeting. And do we have that signed off
I
to
got
somebody?
one.
Oh, well, you hang on to that,
Oh, I
we'll
will.
look at
I
it.
will.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Do we take them in and put them up ourselves?
The guys hanging them good.
Okay, all right.
The guys do? What guys?
City employees.
Employees, so Vivian
Employees.
or any,
Oh, okay.
Randy, Patrick, one of them.
Nobody's got a special duty to do that.
No.
Okay.
Is there anything else you got for me?
No,
Okay.
go ahead and proceed.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order and call the roll, please.
Kim. Here. Lisa.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Peggy.
Here.
Ralph.
Here.
Mary Jane.
Here.
Okay. Chair will has everyone seen the May regular meeting minutes?
No, I haven't.
You have not. Well, they're here.
I should have went and gotten my mail.
Do you want them read into the record?
And that's okay, I'll just abstain.
Okay. Is there a motion? Are there any corrections or additions first?
Oh, yes. I says Ralph Duncan and Mary Jane was on the speakerphone, and I thought Ralph was right here and sitting in this room. Am I wrong, Ralph?
Well, that's regular meeting, that was, yes.
Are you sure you're looking at Meg's? I'm sorry, Peggy, he was on the phone in April.
And the May, and
In May's meeting, I was here.
that's what I thought, but it says here, you were on the phone.
Well, that's got to be corrected, that's probably,
Well, it's
so-
wrong.
Well, yes, I
Where's
just
it
said
at?
it had to be corrected.
Right up there in very front, the very first.
Right at the top where the roll was called,
Yeah.
it identifies you and Mary Jane being your
Yes,
guest.
right. Yeah.
And Luther being absent. And Luther, were you absent at the May meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so that part's correct, but Ralph was here,
Yes, right.
so that needs to be changed. Are there any other corrections? I do have one thing that I'd like to see changed, and I'm sorry, I didn't see it in time to get it before it went to all of you. On the splash pad, the pads, the things that pop up are like the embeds, the actual hardware that the water comes out of. They're not called pads, that'll just confuse people, because the pad is the concrete. So if you could call them the IMBEDS, embeds, that would be fine, and thank you. And anything else, people? All right, is there a motion to approve the minutes of May 4th as corrected?
So moved.
Second.
Kim? Yes. Luther?
Second.
Moore?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Mary Jane?
Abstain. I didn't read it.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the warrants and payroll time sheets.
Motion made.
Second.
Kim? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Moore? Peggy?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Mary Jane?
I better abstain. I didn't look at them.
Is there a motion to approve the transfer of interest to the respective funds?
So moved.
Second.
It's been seconded.
Kim? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
All right. The chair would entertain a motion to transfer the normal monthly amount from the general fund to the police fund.
Motion made.
Second. Kim? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Mary Jane?
Mary Jane?
Yes. I'm sorry.
All right. Susan?
A couple things this evening. First, I have the copies of the environmental reports on the plaster and the skin coat that we had redone that I'm giving for your records.
Thank you.
Also, in regards to that, just to let you know, I have a change order for your approval for a deduct, which is a negative, of $15,003.61 from the EW construction contract. Takes into account $8,003.61 of asbestos that was not removed, which was 3,321 square feet at $2.41. And then they've also been assessed 7 days of liquidated damages at $1,000 a day, which is $7,000, because they weren't done until April 7th, and their completion date was May 31st. So they have signed this change order, and it is now in your hands to approve as well. Again, it's a negative change order, meaning their contract decreases, and it's because they didn't do some of the work, and then I assessed them liquidated damages for 7 days. And it wasn't easy.
No, sure
We
we
had a
have.
little bit argued on the phone, but
Is there a motion to allow the mayor to sign this on behalf of the village?
So moved.
Second.
Kim?
yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
The pipe asbestos is continuing to be removed. I assume they probably have about another week and a half. I've been working with RAPCA to schedule an inspection. They have to come in and do a final inspection before the demolition can begin. I've spoken with her and I sent her some additional information today because she has to have copies of the reports that the skim coat doesn't and the plaster doesn't have to come out based on our new inspections. I believe you probably got a letter on Cardinal Hill reconstruction. I got a letter in the mail, looks like this, was sent to you, if you didn't get it.
No, I didn't get
That
it.
basically said they're awarding the village $58,400 for the Cardinal Hill reconstruction project, that they need a revised CFO statement since your amount went up a little bit, and then they also need some electronic files from me. So I guess I just want to make sure you're all in approval of that.
We're on top of that right now. Kim's got it to talk about her finance. We're going to bump some things around and come up with the total amount that we need, which includes the difference we had in cost, which is, it was 50/50.
Correct.
Now it's about 45/55 is what we're looking at. Our share is 55. But it's still the best way to get it done.
Yeah, and you really have a rather large project for that program anyway, because most projects are around 80, 90,000, and yours is more like 130. So, I mean, I don't think you need 54 out of the pot to back a bad deal for you as far as, you know, what monies they have available. They are funding 3 projects, which is yours, a project in Camden, and a project in West Allen. So if that's the case, I'll go ahead and do the CFO statement for me. And then she can sign it once you guys have your meeting or whatever, but she'll have it ready to go.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Okay, very good.
I got a question on that. I'm sorry, can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
You said the total was $130,000 for that project?
Yes, sir.
And then the $58,000 was awarded?
Yes, that's
And then-
great.
No, the 58,000 is what they're going to give us, yes. That was what they would award us. That was 45%, about 45%.
And then we're on the hook for the $78,000?
71.6 is what we have to come up with.
Thank you.
And the project, it has to be done by August of 2022. It can't begin until next year, because the funds will actually be available for the county to spend until approximately February or March. So they can choose to do it in 21 or 22 if they need to wait longer to save up their share.
Thank you.
Then the other thing I guess I just wanted to mention is that we have submitted the phase 3, which is the final plans for the Spring Street Bridge, to ODOT for their review. As of right now, the construction bidding is scheduled for April of 21, with the construction to follow in 21. I don't think those dates take forever.
There is so we have our pre-construction meeting for evidence.
Yes.
And 1 or 2 people from the park committee might be there only to talk about the bricks
Okay.
and where they're going to be placed and that kind of thing. So when you let me know, I'll let them know.
Well, we already had the pre-construction.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, remember, we did. But, and that doesn't mean that we can't have a little
Well,
on-site meeting
we
with
need
them
to-
when
to
they
do
come.
something
There's not
for
a
them.
problem with that. We
Yeah.
can schedule something. It probably won't be your official pre-construction meeting because you already had that. But that's fine. What I'll probably do is when I get ready to know that they're coming, we'll just schedule a
Yes,
little
we can.
on-site meeting with them to kind of work those things out. And it'll be better because we'll be standing there and figure out where to put the bricks and what have you. So I can let you know.
I think that
That's not a
the question
problem.
of them salvaging things, they need to get it pretty quickly, as quickly as they can, so they'd like to know where to be and that kind of thing.
And if there's something that we can do that, maybe they can put some of that extra orange fence around it or something to kind of deter
Yeah,
people. I don't know how much
I don't
orange
know.
fence will do, but we can talk to them about that and where to
Okay.
get in place. That's not a problem. As soon as we get ready to do that, I'll schedule a date when they're first going to come in and we'll talk to their supervisor.
Okay.
Okay, no
That
problem.
sounds fine.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right.
Anything else for me?
Anybody got anything else for Susan?
All right, sounds good.
I
Thank
you know, they're working on drawings. I saw this, spectrum on her drawing today of scale drawing for what they proposed for the basketball. So they are working on this thing, we should be getting.
Okay, good.
Since we're ready.
The other thing I forgot to mention is I have contacted Raindrop, And I also contacted Snyder Recreation about the change in the budget for the splash pad. And so they're both working on, Raindrop's working on a revised
Yes.
layout, and Snyder's is working on an extended layout. So I do have that kind of in the works already, so.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Thanks, Susan.
You're welcome.
I don't think I have anybody from the chamber here. So we'll go on down to Hope Baker. Yes. If you just kind of, we want you to be able to.
Yeah, I'm just here, I recently moved to Cardinal Hill Drive, and I've noticed there's not a speed limit sign there. We recently just had some young children move in beside me, and we have a few people at the end of that drive that go like 35, 40 miles an hour down Cardinal Hill. So I'm just here to ask if we could possibly get a speed limit sign posted and maybe some fresh painted watch for children signs, because I'm afraid they're going to get hit.
Holly Mills is 35.
There's not a speed limit sign on Cardinal Hill.
That little drive itself shouldn't be more than 25.
I would say 20.
Now,
15 to 20 probably.
We'll need to look and
You
see.
get too
Okay.
low, they go like you do on Channel 15. Yeah, they go over.
There's one watch for children sign at the very front on my drive when you pull on to Cardinal Hill, but it's pretty old. Not that people will pay attention to it, but I just, recently
Whatever we
moved there.
can do.
So I'm just trying to watch for those children, so.
Okay. We'll find out exactly what we can set it at.
Okay.
And get that done.
Okay.
Thanks, Susan.
Oh, Joan Steinberger.
Thank you, Mayor.
Come on up a little bit, Joan. We need to catch you on these mics, if you can get just a little bit closer to us.
Another microphone.
Thank you, Mayor and council, for letting me speak. I have a presentation to make. As most of you know, the New Paris Presbyterian Church has closed its doors as of March the 10th, 2020, because of low attendance and could not keep up expenses. The church was dedicated December the 9th, 1894, at a building cost of $5,689.65. It's reported to be the finest example of Queen Anne architecture in southwest Ohio. Several items have been removed from the building. On behalf of the members, it was my pleasure to present one of those items to the mayor of New Paris and the New Paris Village Council. The United States flag, which has stood on the stage for decades, is now the property of the village government of New Paris, Ohio. It is the whole.
And it's a little tall.
Lean the bait, lean the bait.
Hold it over until he gets
Cut
in
the
here.
ball, cut the ball, a little bit.
Here.
There you go.
It's the hope of the church members that it will
Oh, go
serve
on down?
for many more.
Well, we'll get that fixed because we'd like to have the whole thing, I think. Go ahead, Joan, you've got more. Listen, I know that we are all honored that they thought of us and will cherish the flag. We will. We don't have one, I've thought about that often, and now that's wonderful. And thank all the members. Thank you to the Presbyterian Church. That's wonderful.
Thanks, Joan. Nice.
That is nice, very nice, thank you very much. Committee reports, safety. Pardon?
Chief's not here.
He is not here. Do you want to go through it?
Yeah, the police department for May 2020 activity report, calls for service was 83, reports made were 13, arrests made were 2, citations issued 4, and warnings issued were 7.
Thank you. We don't have anything else going on right now? I don't know of anything else we need to report? Okay,
Nothing was related to me, no.
okay. We don't know. Thank you. Building.
Nothing offhand.
We're okay with building? Peggy?
What's that?
We okay with building?
Yes.
All right. Streets,
On the streets, the street sweeper will be operating on the first week of the month. Scheduled to do as long as weather is permitting after we discussed that.
good.
Jimmy, also they're going to try to do some of the curb painting from the yellow markings that are missing because of the new street. They're going to put that back in place.
Yes,
So we're moving along with some of the stuff that needs to be addressed now that it's quit raining. for a few
I
days.
know, yeah.
And they did get the alleys finished up on Spring Street.
Okay.
Yeah, they got those done, they got them all leveled out, packed in.
The only thing I notice is we've still got all that grinding sitting up there in that little parking lot.
Yeah.
That we need to try to get rid of those weeds and then spread it or whatever we're planning on doing up there.
Part of the problem up there is we have a person that parks the truck there all the time, and you don't know whether that lot's going to be open or not.
Well, I think we need to find out who that is and ask them to keep it out of there until we can get,
I've been seeing that. for a
something
while.
done.
Good, thank you.
I think the police department can probably find out who that is and where they live, and we'll have them get out of there long enough for us to try to fix that up.
And we will take some kind of device up there for the Amish horses,
Okay?
for the library to use.
You
that.
know, I
You and
did
talked
think the
about
library,
that.
they come up, they used to come up with a bench, I don't guess they're doing that anymore. But,
But I think we can do that, and I think they can actually tie off to the railing that's there now.
Okay.
I think it's substantial enough that will hold the buggies and the
Okay.
horses if they want to use that until something better is designed. But I
Okay.
would like to encourage them to use that lot
sure,
for the facilities for the library or anything they want to do in town.
okay, so we'll have to get the word out.
I have a question too on the alleys. You know where the alleys run up and down behind the houses? We had talked one time about maybe the property owners consuming some of that.
Well, they'd have to be closed off, and then they would actually split. And then it'd be requested, or the village would have to do it on their own, too.
I just didn't know whether it was-
And then it could go to the property owners that boarded them. But to my knowledge, we don't have any that. we're
Not too
wanting to
long ago, weren't we
close.
looking at alley closures, especially down here on the west side of the railroad track? And there are some places there that we felt we didn't need them.
Just a few places there was, and
Okay, you know, I don't know.
Jimmy told me he was going to look into that, and but we never really followed up on it, so I was just,
Well, maybe that'd be something you could do and see what, if
I
there's
will.
something that we need to, I have not had a request from anybody
I haven't either.
to close an alley, but it might be something we could look at that might make life easier for somebody. Okay, anything else on streets? Lights?
I don't know of any,
I'm okay on the south, are you okay on the
I'm
north?
okay on the north.
Okay, good, good. One here. Finance. We have an audit invoice in the amount of $1,025 that needs to be approved. Is there a motion to approve, and this is not the end of it, I'm sure. Are they done?
They're still working from home and there's no we can do.
Okay, so this is
I
just,
don't know.
they're probably invoicing us monthly now, since they are probably slowed down. But anyway, just read it, $25.
I move we pay it.
Second.
Tim?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Ross?
Yes.
finance has some other things. Kim's gonna report on something down there, I think.
Okay, so we were talking about the CDBG grant and those monies for Cardinal Hill. So I'm recommending that we decrease the $6,000 that we transfer from the general fund to the street maintenance and matching funds to $3,500 a month. I know that we're worried about our finances because of everything that's going on, but I think, like we said, our CDBG grant was reduced from 65,000 down to 58.4. So now we need to come up with 71.6. And if we do that and stay ahead of it, since we don't have to have it until May of 2021, we have to have an ordinance for this. So what I need is approval from the council to reduce that down.
It's a resolution.
Yes, it has to be a
Have a
resolution.
resolution number. What'd you say?
2020-08.
2020-08.
Resolution 2020-08 to reduce the monthly transfer of funds from the village general fund to the street maintenance and repair fund, capital improvements, grant matching funds, to be included in the remaining budget appropriations for the year 2020. Whereas the village has grant money pending from grant applications for street improvement projects, and whereas the pending grants will require matching funds from the village of New Paris, which is beyond the revenue in the street maintenance and repair fund to adequately fund. Be it therefore resolved that the amount of $6,000 has been reduced to the amount of $3,500 per month to be transferred from the village general fund to the street maintenance and repair fund, capital improvements, grant matching funds to enable the village of New Paris to meet its obligations in the street maintenance and repair fund. If you have before you, and you do, so the little thing we already have for the first 5 months of the year, $30,000 sitting there for grant matching funds. So all we had to get was 41.6. Not that that's all we had to get, but that helped to have that much already. That shows you that by April, we'll be able to start, and by May, we'll have it all of next year, 2021. So in case, unless the bottom totally falls out of everything, I think we'll be fine to do that. If not, we still got one more year to get it scraped up, because we don't have to do it until the end of, or until 2022. So I think we can do it next year by going this route and still save money in our general fund for whatever comes up. Once we move it to the street maintenance, it's there. We can't get it out. It has to stay there. So we're going to lower the amount. Is there a motion to declare an emergency and pass Resolution 2020-08 on a single reading?
So moved.
Second.
Ken?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Peggy? Ralph?
Yes.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
While we're in finance, I'm going to read Resolution 2020-007. This is the statement of employee salaries. I don't know, did you all get one of these? I think you did. That we will adopt for beginning of June. Are there any questions on the salaries? Statement of employee salaries, mandated is 1909, and this is an hourly rate. Everybody has an hourly rate unless otherwise stated. Jeremy Schroeder, 2014, Clay Hurd, 1167, Jimmy Ragsdale, 1989, Randy Shar, $17, Patrick Quinn, $19, Brandon Kattenbarger, $10.71, Eric Stevens, $14.85, Joel Crossman, $10.71. Fiscal officer, 100 per month for meetings, and then hers is salary. So we don't have that on here, but it that's what she gets per meeting. Per month, not per meeting, excuse me. We don't want to get that confused because she gets that every month if we have 5 meetings or 1. And of course, the board will always meet, and that's included in there, isn't it? All right. Mayor gets 60 a month, council members get 15 a meeting, BPA members 15 a meeting, and the zoning commissioner makes $80 a month. And move that this resolution be passed.
Motion made.
Second.
Kim? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Peggy?
I don't think that, I have to interject here. Randy Shaw gets 17, Patrick Quinn gets 19. Why is the difference in those?
Randy has certificates.
No, Patrick has.
Patrick has certificates, Randy does not.
What
Water
does he have?
certificates.
Water certificates,
He's a water
a
superintendent?
BPA employee.
He works for the board, and he has his license for class 1 water, which is what we have.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. Any other questions? It's been moved and seconded. Do we have a second?
Yeah. Do the following roll.
Okay, well, let's start the roll call again, please.
Kim? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Someone like to declare an emergency and allow this to go through on 1 reading?
So moved.
Second.
Kim? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Everything you've got goes under finance. I don't know, we might as well do this one. It deals with money too. This is Resolution 2020-06. The resolution to forgive village income tax late payment fee penalties and interest accrued by the Northwest Fire and Ambulance District. Whereas the Northwest Fire and Ambulance District, a public entity relying on property taxation for income and whose service area includes the village of New Paris, pays income tax to said village, and whereas due to the misfeasance of a former employee of said district, the income taxes were not paid for a period of time, thus accruing late payment penalties and interest, and whereas all past due tax amounts have been discovered by new employees of the said district, and payment in full of said delinquent tax amounts has been made and has been collected by the agents of the village of New Paris, and whereas the Northwest Fire and Ambulance District has come forward to ask, as a taxing entity which shares the tax base with the village of New Paris, that relief of the debt of penalties and interest on said delinquent taxes be forgiven in full or in part, be it therefore resolved that the penalties and interest accrued on said delinquent taxes in the amount of $4,772.33 be forgiven in total, and be it further resolved that this action is taken due to the special circumstances stated above and is in no way to be interpreted as the normal practice of the council of the village of New Paris, Preble County, Ohio. Passed this first day of June as an emergency measure to grant immediate relief to the district and to prevent accrual of additional fees. Are there any questions?
I make a motion that we accept, that.
Resolution 2020-06. Is there a second to?
Ma'am, before you proceed, are you saying you want to give a public entity tax relief? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Penalty.
they pay their
Penalty.
tax.
Yeah, that's a tax, but
We
it's still
got
a
our
tax
money,
relief,
that's
right?
all I cared about, there was a penalty we could put on them, but I don't see a reason for it. We need to stay in good standing with the community.
Does that mean everybody gets this penalty removed that's late on their taxes?
No, and that's what I just read.
Yeah.
But they're a public entity, right? They're not private entities?
They are a public entity relying on taxes
On
for
tax
income.
dollars. That's what we clear for the record, that's what you're voting on.
We're voting to forgive the penalty and the interest. on the
I
delinquent.
understand, just want to make sure that that's what.
We're not, their taxes have all been paid. I mean, we've got all the tax money.
I'll second.
It's been Mary Jane moved and Ralph seconded. Roll call, please.
Ken? Yes. Luther?
Yeah.
Moore?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Sanitation. Mary Jane, we have copies of what you got today as far as the sanitation board and the sanitation officer. And Mort has a copy of the other longer thing along with the safety committee, because I think they should be involved in the animal ordinance too. And we are not ready to act on the animal ordinance, and I don't feel we're ready to act on the sanitation officer one either. I think that we need to, everybody look at that. I think that this is something that the council should vote to approve the board members that are chosen, and there should be a few things added to it. It was left loose on purpose.
Yeah, I did find several, I have several questions, so yeah, I think we need to, let everybody read over that, make sure everybody reads it, and, because it might be a little hard to understand for some of them, but I did find some, questions on my behalf that I would like answered, before, and this was a rough, or a draft.
Yes, it is a draft.
And all of it hasn't soaked in because I just tried to read it in the past 3 hours. So.
And you're talking about the Lindsley or the other one, not the sanitation.
Yeah, it's quite lengthy. It's 10 pages long. But I did find I have some questions about some of the sections, and I also have found something in there that I think that needs to be put in place with the sanitation officer, enforcement officer also.
Okay. What we'll do, everybody take a look at these. If you have questions, I would urge you to look at them this week and get back with me.
Your questions down as you read it, so you don't have to keep them.
Yes, yeah, write them down as you go through, and get back with me. We'll get all the questions back to the attorney at one time, and let him figure out what, or if it's just a flat thing that you want changed, make sure you write that down too, and what you want it changed to, or if you want it to be eliminated, or if you want something added, all those things. But I'd like to have those by a week from now, so that we can give him time to look at them and get something back to us for July.
Before the next meeting,
Yes.
we're needing that animal ordinance passed.
Well, and we need the other one too, because that's how we're going to declare public nuisances and get rid of some of these places. Get them cleaned up. So we need both of them, but, yes.
As far as sanitation is concerned, I'm stressing this because we have to do something
I know you do.
about the building across the street from me. I was talking with the Rosses. They come over to my house. They were talking to one of the individuals living in there. Somebody fell through the floor in there and fell into a cistern. So they kind of patched the floor up. But they have ducks, they have geese,
Are
they
there
have...
children in that home?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
And they have, I mean, they have,
Department.
they're, it looks like a recycling center out back. And so Mrs. Ross, she says, Luther, she says, you need to come walk over here and tell me what you smell. So I walked back there.
Did anybody take any pictures?
I don't think so yet, okay, but it's not hard to take. All you gotta do is walk over there and take them. But anyway, they had 55-gallon drums of rabbit manure.
Have you got proof of that?
I saw it.
Have you got proof of it?
I just said I didn't take no pictures.
You need to take pictures, I think, you would think
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Go ahead, Mary Jane.
We talked about was
the property owner that gets the citation.
Yeah, know that. Yeah.
And they're gonna be the ones that are gonna have, if we have to clean up something, they're gonna have to pay it on their tax bill. Just write it all down, make notes, whatever you need to do. I don't think you have it yet, nor does, Luther, the animal thing. So don't leave tonight and I'll get it to you. Because that we can look through it too, okay?
How come we didn't get it?
Well, because I wanted the safety people to have it and the ordinance people, but if there's, No, you're not. You are. I gave it to the wrong person. I'm sorry, I gave one to Morton, then I gave one to, did you get that?
I
one?
got one.
Okay, no, okay, hang on a minute, I'll get it for you. Somebody else doesn't have one either, and I think it's you.
I don't have one.
Okay.
Another question I have too is when we are cooking now, are we allowed to set up our grills and stuff in front of our house on the sidewalks?
I wouldn't think so.
Can't block the sidewalk.
You can't? Because on the weekends when they cook out, sometimes they have 3 and 4 grills out there on the sidewalk.
No, you can't be on the.
And I just thought,
Right.
that don't sound right, it don't look right to me, but,
That's right.
Can't block the sidewalk.
okay.
Okay, guys,
So we need to write
Don't
down
leave
to
till I
make
get that.
sure that
I won't.
people do that.
you either, okay?
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Okay.
just make sure that you have it before you leave here tonight, and that you look at it and make notes on things that you're questioning. Okay, thank you. Anything else? Mary Jane, you got anything else under sanitation? We need to get the letters written on the grass, and
We
get it
do,
mowed.
and there's lots of places that need mowed, and, now I gotta find somebody to do it, or
No.
the village is supposed to do it.
Randy's gonna do it. I mean, we talked about this. We already voted.
We did, I'm sorry.
He's gonna do it.
Yeah, I just need to get the pictures and the letters out. After I find
Why
out
don't you give, I think Mort, excuse me, let me just say this. I think Mort should come up there and get that camera and take those pictures for you and get that done. All the tape would be an hour or an hour and a half going through town and taking pictures. So if you two could arrange for him to come and get the camera, then we'll get those pictures done and then we can do the letters and get that going because it's not going to get any shorter.
That's fine.
Okay? All right. Anything, you got anything else?
No, I haven't.
You got anything more? No. Okay. Thank you.
Until the meeting's over, then I'll probably make it something.
Write it down.
When we get the sanitation mowing done, where do we get the money? Where does it,
We have to build the tax bill.
and you have to, and how much do we get?
We're going to talk about that next. Okay?
Okay.
I had Mandy check what everybody else charges per lot that has to be mowed that way. Village of Camden charges $125 an hour per man and a 1 hour minimum. So if you go and it takes you 20 minutes, you still have to pay that
Right,
$125.
I got you.
I don't think we have anything that's going to take more than an hour at this time. El Dorado charges $75, but they assess it to your utility bill, you know.
Right.
Greenville is $150 per hour, and that's a minimum charge of an hour. And West Alex is $125, flat rate fee, okay? That's what they charge every time they mow. I would think that we could have an ordinance ready for our next meeting that asks for $125 per lot be assessed.
How much are we getting now?
Well, we've been assessing, we're going to talk about that in a minute too, what we've been charged as far as paying somebody else to do that mowing. But now, and that was with their own equipment. Now, it's our own employees, we're paying their insurance, it's our equipment that we are paying for, so it won't be as cheap as it was. It can't be, because it costs us more.
Oh, but it's gonna get done properly.
Yes, because of the same person really basically doing it. Randy's still going to do it, he just works for us now.
Yes.
So, if I'd
It's
like
a
him,
contract labor report.
it was a contract, now he works for us, and he
Yes.
can't have a contract and work at the same time. So, is there a motion? I mean, my recommendation would be 125 per hour with a 1 hour minimum every time it has to be mowed. I don't
Sounds
know,
good to me. I make a motion, we charge $125 an hour.
I second.
Or whatever, or 120, is it up an hour, or is it?
it's $125 an hour per man, which we're only gonna have one man going, I'm sure. But, it's a minimum 1 hour charge, whether it takes them half an hour or 40 minutes or whatever. The minimum is the 1 hour.
Yeah,
Is there any more discussion?
a minimum of 100, or a minimum of 1 hour. Say that again, what's it?
The charges will be $100 per hour. Well, yes, geez. Okay, the charges will be $125.
Over an hour will be charged.
You'll just have to pay for a second hour. There's a 1 hour minimum every time we do it. So if you go over, if it's an hour and a half, it's 2 hours. The minimum charge that we make is an hour's charge. Okay? $125 per hour per man, 1 hour minimum. So you're gonna get at least 1 hour, and if they have to go over it, you're gonna get 2. Is that agreeable?
Yeah, I make that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. I'd like to call the roll, please.
Kim? Yes. Luther?
Yep.
Moore?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Okay, we'll have an ordinance to that, or a resolution, whichever is appropriate, probably a resolution, actually. That way we can change it easier to that effect at our next meeting, and we'll get it passed in resolution form. Thank you very much. Now, the other thing we need to talk about is our contract mower was not told not to do anything. He wasn't told to start either, but he did start. And he mowed 4 times in
So
April.
he called and asked me, and I told him to go ahead. It was down there by the bank, and I have not called that lady because I don't know her number. If Amanda or somebody.
She
can give me
doesn't,
a number.
Mary Jane, I sent you a message to tell you she doesn't own it. It's still in limbo. It's still property of the county. She bought it, and then, because they told her the taxes had been forgiven on that building, and then when she paid for it, they came back and told her they changed their mind, she had to pay the taxes. So she just told them she changed her mind and give her money back. She's still looking into it, but she did not, the purchase didn't go through. So we don't have anybody to call except whoever, you know.
I missed it. What property are you
We're talking about the old bank building there across from
The old
Keys.
National
Oh, right.
Bank, there is
Big old white
from
building.
the Acre building,
Gotcha.
or the antique mall, I'm sorry.
Across from Keys down there. Okay. So we have bills here for 4 mowings of 3 different properties using his own equipment, okay, for the month of April. Comes to a total of, I think, $540. I would move that we pay him overtime for doing it.
Who did this mowing?
Randy Shaw did it, because he was the contract
We did
mower.
it before we found out that we wasn't allowed to have an employee doing on-site mowing.
He was not working for the village at that
He
time?
was.
He was,
Not
but
to do the mowing. He was doing it as a
I
contractor.
didn't realize that it was a conflict of interest for an employee to be doing mowing and being paid separately. And that's a no-no, so I asked him, he's already done some mowing, and I asked him, please don't mow anymore, and he hasn't.
He has
We
been
never
doing it.
paid him, so I think he needs to be paid.
He used his own equipment, did it on his own time.
More.
So it's my opinion that we should just arrange it to be paid in overtime to him. That's what it was, actually. And the use of his equipment, and we can break that up into 2 checks, split it up or whatever. But that would be my suggestion, that's the fair thing to do.
I move we pay Randy the $540 or whatever it was.
Second.
Kim,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Okay. Sure, we can back streets. What have you got?
I have an application here for
Oh.
a resident that wants to put a handicap sign in front of their residence at 203 North Washington Street. I'd like to have council's approval to do that.
The copy of the, he had a prescription from his doctor to go to the B&B and get.
Wants to read it?
So there's a copy of the actual thing that he
What
got,
location again?
Pardon?
the location.
The location, what is it?
Oh,
203?
203.
203 North Washington?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, the gentleman would like to have that handicap sign up so he can utilize his spot in front of his residence for handicap only.
Okay.
Mary Jane was sitting here looking at the actual thing that he got from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles,
Yeah, I've
the
seen
tag.
that before.
Yeah, so he had to have a doctor's note to get that, so.
Yeah. Okay, I make a motion, we putting up a handicap sign.
I'll second it.
Handicap parking at 203 North Washington.
Kim,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We have done all our resolutions and everything else, and we can skip that, because we took care of that back in finance. And, park. Anybody have anything from the park committee?
I'll defer to them. We covered most everything we had
At
in
the
the
last
special meeting.
special
I know
meeting.
they had a meeting with the company one day, I'll let them cover what was discussed today that's pertinent. And
Why don't you go ahead and talk about the Reed Health people being, the foundation people being up there today?
Well, they come up and they were positive. There's a lot of people that applied for the REAP grant. And they're going to actually, I forget exactly you remember what the number was?
Yeah, there's $125,000 available. 29 people have applied
And they're
for
going to
it.
try to spread that out over everybody.
Not everybody will get one.
Right.
But they sounded like we definitely were going to get something. How much, couldn't tell us, but from what they saw there and what we talked about, they were totally impressed. And they felt like there wouldn't be any problem for us getting a certain amount of money.
And
We
they
may not get it all,
Right.
but we will get a certain amount.
And they asked what we would rather have, basketball backboards or exercise equipment.
If it
They
went
give
one way
it
or
one way or
One
the
way or
other.
the
Yeah,
Yeah. So we picked basketball.
yeah.
We figured that would be more.
Well, you need that, because that
We
part
can
is
add
up.
an
Yes.
exercise machine as we go.
And Brad and Nicole said basketball.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
I guess there was.
And they said that we can reapply for
It's
this
20
grant again next year. It can be
You
reapplied.
used all your money from this.
Once you use all this money, you can reapply next year for the
Yes.
same grant.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and nobody has anything else to part?
There was a couple questions. The one was the bill from Nova Associates on.
I have that right here, Chris.
And we're around that, and some other things going forward with their services.
Okay. Susan did the tempting grant proposal for them, because that's how we ask things to be handled.
Right.
For Susan to do these things. Okay. We have the bill. We talked, but we never voted that we would pay them. I think because they're using our grant writer, I don't know what you think. I think we should pay it, but then the bill is $778.75. It's itemized. I'll be happy to hand it around the table if you want to look and see what she did for them. But it's almost all Timken steel, I think, isn't it? It is. And that grant, several hours spent on that.
I'm-
It's, as I said, 778, 75.
Yeah, I'm
Now,
glad we paid.
first, let's decide, if Susan does the grant writing, are we gonna pay for that? Do we, and if that's the case, don't we need to approve the grant application first?
Right.
Okay,
And then we gotta figure out where the monies come from that pays for these grants that we get from them for the park, either through the park's money, is it public money? Where does that money come from to pay for this bill that we get?
We also
Seeing
do
how
have a,
an independent area of what our normal grant writing comes from and the other stuff that we
it
use.
should, there should be an appropriation in the park line item that we have, a subheading for these kinds of
For those
things.
kinds
If
of
we
expenses.
decide that we're gonna be doing this, because I think if we want them to use our grant writer, in the first place, we wanna know what grants are being applied for first, and then,
Right.
that's not a problem, they came to us when they did the READ grant. I mean, then asked if that was fine, so I don't think that's a problem. And that wasn't Susan, did they use somebody else for that?
yes.
But if they're gonna use our grant writer, then we pay the bill, and that's what I need to know. Because if that's the case, then we can vote to pay this one after we make that motion.
Well, I thought we already agreed on that.
We did. There's nothing in the minutes that we ever voted to do it.
Talked
We
about
talked
it,
about
but
it.
we never made a motion.
But what I need is something, we can't just say, well, we thought we did, we didn't. So what we need to do
Who's
is,
paying for the Reed grant?
I am assuming they pay for
Are
it.
you guys paying for that?
Yes.
Or you contacted her and it was under you guys?
Correct.
If they're not using Susan, then we have nothing, in it, but.
And when
of
they
course, we
use Susan,
prefer
then we
use-
have to know about it ahead of time.
That's what I just
so we
said,
can- yeah.
that's what I just said, we need
And
to
you guys
know.
were informed we did read one, do another grant writer also. That's,
And truly, we knew about the READ grant, they come to us before they do any of them and tell us, we'd like to apply for this grant, and we say, fine. Okay, so that's not a problem, we don't want that to
Madam
change.
Mayor, one thing with that, and there's another question on services, going back to the engineering that might be done up there. So I don't think there's ever voted on any, that's why I'm asking now. Any type of engineering, if they do any projects to go forward, if there are fees involved with, say, we're done with the plants and basketball court, for Mo to review them and make sure everything's up to snuff on their end. Is that something, whatever fee they might charge, is that going to be covered by council, or is that going to be added on to what we're paying? I guess it's just,
Well, I'm fine, yeah, if we're gonna
I
talk
mean,
about
it's kind of,
it.
it was a verbal, it was an understanding.
Get it all, let's get it all settled, I agree.
Council doesn't have an open checkbook to be able to.
No, we
somebody
don't.
Walk in and start.
And really, that's why I said we need to know about what grants and how likely it is and yada yada before we just say okay. But it is our request that Susan look over the documents for this.
Right.
And so what do you want to do? Because we have said that it's imperative that she look at them and make sure that they meet with her.
As far as the engineering and that type of stuff
Yeah.
goes, yes, but as far as who gets the grants, that could come under a different.
Well, that grant money goes to their account, the Gate Foundation. They don't get it to, it's not like they're holding on to it anywhere. That grant would have to go directly there.
When we're asking, we're soliciting donations, either through grants or individual donations from the public, that money is, the way we're projected is going to build things onto the park property, which I think is everybody's understanding. I think our fear is if then it has to go to review that you're requiring from an officer, a third party, that's money taken, basically you're tacking on a percentage to whatever money we're giving you. So we're doing the legwork, getting all the information together, presenting something, hey, we would like to pay for this for the city, for the people of Dewberry. And then there'd be an additional fee on there for whatever time the boat would have it. And I understand that they have times money. I understand that. It's just a matter of who puts the bill.
Well, I look at grant writing as a separate issue than the engineering department that helps them design and lay out infrastructure for the park. There's two different ways to look at this. And my opinion was that we use the services of Moats to do the engineering part, or to assist in doing that for design purposes and such, for the things that we're gonna lay out at the park. Now, to go out and to get grants and that type of stuff may come under a different umbrella, I don't, you know.
Okay.
I'll
I
let
just
Susan
wanna know what-
answer that if you want.
What do you want her to answer? I'm sorry, I'm
Whether,
confused.
whether the grant writing is a part of the engineering part of the
Do
task.
you need the engineering to do the grant writing?
Sometimes,
Sometimes you have to have it.
if the grant takes a sealed engineer's estimate, which some grants do, the Nature Works grant required a sealed engineer's estimate. So when it does that, you have to have an engineer to seal that estimate. Not all grants are like that.
Okay.
Typically, what I've done with you is when I write grants for you that have engineering fees in them, you basically get the grant writing for free, because, you know, you're paying us to do the engineering, and we facilitate getting you the money, you know, and then in return, you know, we get some engineering work out of it. So that's why you haven't seen a bill for the Nature Works agreement, because that will be rolling into that project as it gets funded, because there'll be some paperwork and bidding and some things like that that you're gonna have to do because of the fact that state grant money. Where Reed is a private foundation, they don't require you to do that because it's not state, you know, tax dollars, where like the Nature Works grant would be. So that's kind of typically how I do it. You haven't gotten a bill from Cardinal Hill.
No.
Again,
Because if
you
that
won't.
project comes along,
You
you're
know,
gonna have to do
East
the-
Cherry Street, same way.
Yes.
Spring Street Bridge, same way. So typically, if it has something with engineering related to it, you don't get a bill for the grant writing. Does that make some sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. However, the thing about this is, we have asked them to get their bids and everything. Now, that's an entirely different thing. I don't know, it's having her check, or I guess it won't be checking. You'll be
Well,
doing
we'll
the
just
engineering.
review it is all.
Okay.
No, there'll be a minimum charge of it. So,
Okay.
I mean, and we're not designing something and drawing up plans, and we're just basically gonna review what they're proposing to make sure that it's,
Oversight.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so do we want to do these, I would really rather not do them piecemeal and, you know, do each one on its own merit. I'd like to have something where everybody knows who's going to pay for this.
But where do you?
But, and if
There's a
we
budget
get-
for parks.
Well, if we have prior knowledge, then we're going to have some kind of an idea what that bill is going to be, unless it's something completely outlandish, crazy. And we'll know before we ever say, yes, go ahead with this, if we can afford to pay the grant writing or the engineering. We'll have some kind of an estimate, because we'll have to have prior knowledge that it's going to be applied for, or it's going to be engineered. And that's how we tell if we can afford to do it or not. If we can't, we'll just have to see what kind of, it's a bad year for budgets. It's just because no one knows where they are. No one. We don't know yet what we're going to lose this year and how much lower our income is going to be. So we're just kind of trying to hold on to everything we can. But,
I think that speaking for the foundation, we're not opposed to paying for the grants. There was just a question on that first one with Hampton with Moat. It was our understanding. So going forward, we're fine. So it's going to depend on the success we have with the re-grant and probably a couple going forward. But there's the lady that we have contracted with now, has a very good track record too. She has some connections with other people on board who work with her. So we're not opposed to paying that. It's just kind of it caught us off guard.
Well, and it needed to be settled. It does need to be settled. We did talk about it, and then it just got left plain on the table. Nothing, no action was taken. So I don't know how you want to handle this, and we can go ahead and approve payment of this one and talk about it later about what we want to do. We can do it per project as it's brought to us and decide at that time, yes, we'll pay for this, or we can't pay for this, and you guys, if you have the money, you'll have to, or we'll have to wait a little while. Which is really kind of what I'd like to recommend, that we pay this one tonight, and then going forward, as these projects are brought to us, we look into them. It shouldn't be, it's not going to be that difficult. I don't think it has to be to the exact dollar, but we have to have some idea of what kind of money it's going to be
We have no more.
before we can say, oh, sure, we'll pay for that. Okay? This bill is from Moat Associates for $778.75. And it's for the grant work. And that's, meeting with everybody, going down, looking at everything that has to be done for the Timken grant.
I make a motion, we pay that bill for $700, what do you think?
$778.75.
$778.75.
And I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded.
Kim? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Peggy?
I abstain.
Mary Jane?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Now, quick question, will that come out of the park line item, though, once in the budget, or where will that come from? Just for our,
It'll come out of the park line on it,
Okay.
but we have to put something else in there, we will, and not mess with the money we've promised you for the.
just so I got to hold it
Because
over our hand to see.
that's a thing we've said we're gonna do, so we'll get that out of something else. We'll just transfer something in there. It's all in the same fund, so we can do it. Can't we, Mandy? Oh, yeah.
Thank you all.
Unfinished business. Do we have unfinished business? Now, Jane, you got anything?
No.
Anything unfinished? All right, I don't either. Not that we're done with everything, I'm just
Did
going
we
to
talk
have to bring up.
about the golf carts last meeting?
We did talk about golf carts sometime, and the thing has to be, I got the stuff from Jeremy, the rules.
What about the rules right here?
That's what I have.
Okay,
I have that.
well, is it going to be changed?
I don't think so. Let me look at it. I'm pretty sure it's what I have.
What are we talking about?
The next rule.
Well, the only reason we talked about it at all is that
Safety signs on.
they have to have license, you have to have a driver's license to drive it in town. You have to have the slow-moving vehicle thing,
Yeah.
and all those things.
A lot of cars that don't have that on there.
Well, that's why we're bringing it up, and that's why it got brought up. We just want to remind people, and we are going to do that these are the rules for golf carts in town, because we've got people not following, either they don't know it, or ignoring it. But this, I had that text, so yeah.
It's going to be the same.
Yeah, it's not going to change. It hasn't changed.
They have to have a slow moving,
I think so, yeah.
besides the light.
Besides the license plate.
Well, if they got a license plate, I think that's what you need.
Well, now that I don't know. Look down there at the bottom where it says license plates. Does it say they still need a slow-moving vehicle thing?
I don't know.
We're not planning on changing it, so if you don't need it, you don't. I thought you did, but I have not read it. I don't have a golf cart. Let me know if you find it.
Okay.
And we're going to go on to new business. Is there new business? I think we've had a lot of new stuff going on, but it's all been related to something else that we could put it under. Anything else? Any other new business? Communications, I've already communicated everything I had, I think. We've got bills and things like that, and those are all taken care of, just like home. Is there any further business? I beg your pardon? that will be the celebration day for the 4th of July, the 6th, because it'll be, oh, no.
No, holidays on Friday, if you wanted to.
Okay, it's not. 4th of July is by golly on the 4th of July, isn't it? So, is there any objection to holding our regular council meeting on July 6th? Okay, that's when it will be. July 6th at 7, we'll be meeting here. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Don't leave,
Second.
stay here.
Ken,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Mary Jane.